Hello and welcome once again to continue with talking about some more of your questions and comments that I am very happy to have received via the chat on YouTube. Before I begin, can I just say that by request I have recorded a short video for people wishing to remind themselves of Tisarana Panchasila, that is, taking refuge in the triple gem, the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and reaffirming their 5 precepts of no killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, or intoxicants, which is done as often as you feel it is necessary to just remind yourselves of that refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and your commitment, your determination, or adhitthana in the Pali language, to keeping those precepts or refraining from any of those unwholesome acts of body, speech and mind. And this is sila, a very important part of the Noble Eightfold Path and our practice. And your refuge in the triple gem is in the knowledge that the Buddha, man, human rather than just like you and I, or you or I, in terms of bodily reality and functions, still subject as ourselves to aging, sickness and death, was able to, in this very lifetime, realize the attainment to arahantship and ultimately Buddhahood and parinibbana. So therefore no further rebirth into samsara, this worldly life of experience and experience of a good deal of suffering. So our practice is to become free from suffering in this lifetime. If you wish to do that, there is a short video I put. You can click on it, it will go straight to the main video, or just search 3 refuges, 5 precepts, or Tisarana Panchasila, or just look at the recent videos on this channel. It should be easy to find. It's quite short in the Pali and English language, and you can just repeat the few lines after me, and it just will help remind yourself of this practice and our commitment to it. I hope it's useful. So, continuing with questions. Firstly, from an email, which I'll try and condense into a shorter question, where, and this is quite common with people, where there is an experience of, let's say, not necessarily discomfort or pain, but maybe discomfort in the breath, in the breathing. So when one is practicing anapanasati, mindfulness of breath, using the breath as a meditation object, not everybody is just breathing freely. We have some conditions, or even just a common cold. That can mean that one nostril is a bit blocked, or you have a bit of a cough, a tickly throat, and it can be a little bit uncomfortable to breathe. But you see, anapanasati is mindfulness of the breath. So whether the breath is long, short, deep, shallow, fast, slow, whether the breath is comfortable or uncomfortable, enjoyable or you're really not enjoying it, you have to enjoy it because you have to do it anyway, otherwise you're dead. But this mindfulness is still there. So it could seem that by bringing your attention, your focus to the breath, is exaggerating the problem, exacerbating the problem, making it more difficult to be with. But this is not the case. It's that you are excluding other things from your thinking process. This is the intention. Ultimately, to withdraw from seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking, to focus all of your mindfulness, your attention, onto just the breathing. So if it's a little uncomfortable, if it's difficult, sometimes as a meditation object, it can be more useful, more easy to focus on. It's going to be uncomfortable or difficult as a result of any condition you may be suffering anyway. So why not use it? Bring it in as part of your practice. Use this discomfort and the knowing of this discomfort as the meditation object itself. You will actually find by doing this, by bringing all of your focus and attention into the area particularly of discomfort, let's say your right nose is blocked and that is bothering you, then bringing all of your awareness into this particular area will very often alleviate the problem to a degree. Not always, but you are still using awareness, you are still using mindfulness of the breath to be with the breath. And it is there, here, now, in this moment. It's also in the body. It's reminding us also of the unsatisfactory nature of our bodies, the uncontrollability of these bodies, which are subject to aging, sickness, and death. But all of these ailments in the meantime. So, let me just check. It could be also a case that sometimes people, as the breath becomes slower and more subtle, then, as they're less able to notice it in its entirety, to the extent you're not even sure if you're breathing or not, a little anxiety, a little panic can come into play. And the heartbeat may raise, get a little faster as a result of this. Well, firstly, no, you are breathing. You'd certainly know if you were not. However subtle and undetectable the breath becomes, it is still there. In deep samadhi, your meditation object of the breath will no longer be the point of focus, because it will diminish into the background along with the other senses of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, because of course in order to observe the breath you require these senses, these abilities for its detection. But when you become fully absorbed, it will become less noticeable. Now, what pulls people out of that state of absorption is this, I've let go of my meditation object. Well, this is where you must try not to try. If the meditation object slips away from you, let it go. Just be aware of what has replaced it. If what has replaced it is a pain in the knee or a scratch on the arm, then you're not absorbed. You're just switching feelings. So go back to the breath, try and find it. But if nothing is really replacing it, except relaxation, calm, tranquility, peace, just be with that. There's no need to then be going back to the breath. Of course, this little clinging to the meditation object at this point can often develop this little panic, this anxiety, which then increases the breath to start faster, the heart to beat faster, and takes you back into a cycle. And you start bouncing from this overactive breath to very much like a very sort of minor, but similar to a panic attack. How that kind of generates its own energy through the nature of fear, anxiety, panic. Know you're safe, know you're relatively healthy, know you're not going to stop breathing. Even when we're asleep, we don't stop breathing. There are some conditions where people do stop the physical act of inhalation, exhalation, but there is still that potential there. It does restart. They do continue. As their heart continues to beat, requiring oxygen, the breath starts up again. Like a stalled engine that's going down a hill, it will start up again if you take your foot off the clutch. We're like that. We're machines. So use the breath as an object for observation, not as an object to study, judge, criticize. Understand each breath as what it is, but without comparison, without opinion, without judgment. That is anapanasati. And when pains arise in the body, at this stage of events, then it's often again resulting through tension. All of this, I think, can be put down to trying too hard. One must simply relax and be with what is. Let me just check what I said in my written answer. Yeah, that's about what I said in my written answer. So let go of what you're expecting the meditation experience to be, and just see it for what it is. Expectations will always lead to disappointment. If you think it's going to be watching the breath until it becomes subtle and then deep bliss, then the likelihood it won't be. The breath will do all sorts of things to maybe distract you from absorption, to draw you into panic, or you may be even unable to keep your attention on the breath and find yourself with your mind wandering. Just know that. Know my mind is wandering. And then come back to the breath. So I think for that is hopefully covered that question. Now the next one. This is 3 questions in the same email. So could you tell us something about nimittas? Some teachers say that if you meditate on the breath correctly, nimittas are supposed to appear. Okay, yes, well, supposed, there's nothing supposed to happen. We are all going to experience maybe similar and different things that occur and happen in our meditation. So nothing is supposed to happen. But what can happen is what nimittas are. Nimitta is the Pali word. It just really means signs, is the translation. But actually what it is used to describe is seeing lights, either many patterns or lights, or one light, one colour, multicolored, but in effect visualizations of any kinds of things can be called nimittas, which can occur when one is beginning to become absorbed into the first stages of samadhi, and during samadhi, however, can often be a little bit of a distraction. For instance, an image, a light, a nimitta will come up and your attention, your focus will be drawn towards it. And then where is the breath? So the breath is still there, but your meditation object is no longer your meditation object. So one must consider these nimittas as phenomena, ordinary phenomena, how wonderful and beautiful they may be, but ordinary phenomena of seeing. If you were labeling them, you'd say this is seeing, just that. Like hearing sounds, in a minute you'll hear the motorbike arrive, or I will, and it'll be a sound, just hearing sound. Smelling, tasting, touching. Phenomena. These are the physical dharmas. These are phenomena that we experience and then draw conclusions about, which aren't necessarily correct. We see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and that creates thinking. It creates ideas. It creates opinions, judgments, and comparison. comparison often to our expectations, which are just imagination about what will happen in the future. In comparison to things that have happened in the past, which are just memory, which is unreliable. But nimittas appear and they're happening now. This is seeing now. And come back to the breath. This is all you need to say. You can focus more if you wish, if your breath has become subtle, and this is like where you were saying the breath kind of disappears and I said something may replace it. It could be this, a nimitta. Then you could just focus on the nimitta. But much like as if you had a pain arise, which is also phenomena, but less exciting, let's say, you would just bring your attention to that pain. Because by focusing all of your awareness and attention onto the pain, it will often disappear, which is your desired result. However, with the nimitta, similarly, by bringing all of your awareness and attention onto the nimitta, it too may disappear, or it may become more intense. But just all phenomena, it must be remembered, is just that, and to be experienced as just that, phenomena. Whatever it's called, however magical and wonderful it can seem, it's phenomena. If you're in samadhi and you're sitting here like this and suddenly you find yourself floating 6 inches in the air rather than on your cloth here, it's still just phenomena. If you start, oh wow, I'm levitating, you'll soon bang down back on the floor. Just enjoy it as for what it is, but don't get carried away with it, with comparison and judgment. And just experience it for what it is in the moment. What was the actual question? So yes, it can happen. Lights. Yes, you'll see lights. I mean, you don't have to be meditating. If you go to sleep at night, close your eyes, you'll see lights. I often say in guided meditation, close your eyes, but don't squint them up because you can't shut out light. There's always light. Some's coming through, and even in sensory deprivation, in pitch black darkness, you'll imagine this phenomena of light. This is from the little pressures on the retina at the back of your eye and the nerve impulses which will continue. In dreams, we're seeing without light. We see beautiful, lucid visions of things in clarity. And this is not light. It's an effect, it's phenomena. But nimitta are a quite recognizable thing. They are common, experienced by many, and therefore they have their name, nimitta, and are worth talking about. So thank you for the question. Enjoy nimittas if you have the good fortune to experience such phenomena. All right, could you tell us something about... Oh, that's the question we've just done. Oh, it's gone. Some teachers suggest focusing on the nostrils during breath meditation, while others recommend focusing on the abdomen. Why are there so many different techniques, and how do you choose the one that's right for you? Okay, well, there are so many different techniques because there are so many different kinds of people. And as you say in your question, how do you choose the right one for you? Well, you find one that is right for you, because we're not all the same. Some people cannot really detect the breath at the nostrils, in the nostrils, or some say at the tip, I don't know, this area below the nostrils. Some can, some can't. The point is, one is to bring your awareness to the breath, wherever that is the most readily available to you. So when you begin, before you've decided where that will be for the future, just sit, know your breathing, and then where it is the most obvious to you is going to be the best place to start. So if it is your abdomen moving, then maybe you could use your abdomen rising, falling, rising, falling. But that's really as a result, that is a bodily experience of the inhalation-exhalation process. So it is something slightly different. Whereas the observation of the breath at the nostrils is taking into account the feeling of the air going from outside to inside. This is why perhaps the nostrils is chosen as a place, because it's the defining point of external to internal, where there is the most obvious change in temperature, for instance, from the inhalation to the exhalation. So from that point of view, it's the doorway into our bodies from outside to inside, and a good point of reference. But it wasn't ever mentioned by the Buddha that one should observe the breath at this point. He said one should observe the whole body of the breath. Now some translate that to mean as the breath as it enters the body and then infiltrates through the oxygenation process the entire body. Others, myself, prefer to translate and see that as if you consider this air from outside coming inside, it is a body of air, like you have a body of water in a lake or a sea or a bucket even. It's a body of water. It's an expression, a body of a whole mass of something. So one inhalation isn't one little piece of air, it's a body of air coming into the body, this body, and then being exhaled, that same mass of air being exhaled. So he's drawing your attention to the body of the breath, the entire body of the breath, which also takes into account the inhalation from the beginning to the finish of inhalation, the turning point, and then the beginning of the exhalation to the finish of the exhalation, the turning point, and then the inhalation. Now this you can experience holistically, knowing you're breathing in long, as he describes in the Anapanasutta, breathing out long, breathing in short, breathing out short, deep, shallow, fast, slow, like this. And it's just that. But the different methods described by different teachers are to try and make it easier for the people that are practicing this form of meditation. And some say, just right, do this way. Some say, do this that way. Well, the Buddha didn't really say that. He left it kind of open by saying the body of the breath, for us to find the natural point of focus, because we are all different, which is why there are so many ways. So if someone's very able to notice it at the breath and you're not, it doesn't mean you should be noticing it, at the nostrils and you're not. It doesn't mean you should try and strain your focus on the nostrils. It's not there, it doesn't matter. Know it somewhere else. In the nasal cavity, anywhere that is noticeable. Around the entrance, though, is useful because it does give that obvious difference between inhalation and exhalation. The abdomen too, because rising and falling, but it's more a bodily experience, a bodily phenomena, and can also be quite difficult to notice. But if it's difficult to notice, just keep, without straining, just bring your awareness, bring your mindfulness to it. You'll pick it up. When you've picked it up, you've also established the sati, established mindfulness on the breath. So we've had 2 questions in a row there on Anapanasati, haven't we? This is just by coincidence, because I don't really plan this, as you can tell. Why do you meditate so much? Do you mean me personally? Probably, I suppose. How much time should we meditate to achieve noticeable results, such as reaching jhanas? Why? Why do I meditate so much, if you mean that? Or why do people generally meditate so much? Well, they probably don't. So I think you mean me. Why do I meditate so much? Because I can. Why wouldn't I? If meditation is so wonderful, it's such a beautiful, lovely experience, which is what I'm always explaining, and you have the opportunity to do really nothing other than meditation, why would you want to do anything else? You're going to, this is why. I really am able to enjoy meditation for a good part of my day. And my day as a monk, and most monks' days, are structured such they are around practice and the practice of meditation. So that's why. But it isn't necessarily how long you should meditate to attain to jhanas. The Buddha said you can become enlightened in a finger snap with absolute mindfulness on, just with absolute mindfulness, and also encompassing within that the whole practice of Sila, Samadhi, Panya, which includes the whole understanding of the Four Noble Truths, the characteristics of existence, and everything that the Buddha taught. So it's a little bit more than that, but there's no recommended or specific time schedule to this. It's more about quality than quantity. So if you can only find time to meditate for 1 hour a day, make sure that hour of meditation is dedicated solely to that. Really good meditation, just watching the breath and not thinking about other things, what you've been doing before or what you're going to do afterwards. Really dedicate that time to your meditation. Now, if you have all day to meditate, then you can bring some other aspects into it, maybe some reflection, a little bit more thinking. But still, this isn't really what you should be doing. Meditation practice should be just that. Should be watching the meditation object until you become absorbed into the meditation object, until the sense faculties of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching start to become less noticeable and eventually are not noticeable. I don't like to say disappear because they're always there. If a big noise happens, it will bring you out of an absorption perhaps. But then with your thinking more subdued and less papancha, we call it, which is procrastination or thinking, one thought leading to another, but being able to keep your thoughts really into the present moment, then you will be able to start to experience this absorption and move in towards the jhanas. Now this can happen very quickly, or it may take some time, but you will not know if you don't practice at all. So it's very important to find time in the day, at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. It's the easiest place to always find time, because most of us sleep. We all sleep at some point, and we can all do with 1 hour's less sleep. Even if you only have 4 hours sleep, maybe 4 is pushing it a bit, but even if you only have 5 or 6 hours sleep and you lose 1 hour of that sleep, if you replace it with really good meditation, that's more restorative than sleep anyway. So you could take half an hour before you go to sleep and half an hour after you wake up for just meditation. You found some meditation time in the day. But of course, you need more than that. So if you can extend that to an hour before you sleep and an hour after you wake up and meditate twice a day, and even better, bring some meditation time into the middle of the day or at some point during the day, then you're going to be progressing towards what you're saying, reaching jhana, and seeing noticeable results. Even if you meditate just 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon, in the evening before you go to sleep, and that's all you can manage, after even just a few days, if you really do that and you don't get up and do other things and then have your coffee here and your agenda for the day there and then just sit and call it meditation. No, you get up and you do nothing else and you sit and you just watch the breath without thinking about the day ahead. And in the evening before you go to sleep, just watch the breath without thinking of the day you've just had. Then, after just a few days, if your meditation is like that, quality rather than quantity, then you will already notice significant differences. They will be noticeable. you will be calmer. Your mind will be less reactive. You will have a heightened sense of awareness in all of your senses when you're not meditating. You'll see more clearly, hear more brightly. Smells will be more obvious. Taste, subtle tastes, more noticeable. Feelings you will be more conscious of. And your thoughts will become more ordered. It will have a noticeable effect in a few days if you are practicing it. But it's not for me to tell you that or for you to read in a book. As the Buddha said, it is for you to try and experience for yourself. There is no belief in this practice, and it's a bit like swimming. You can't learn how to swim from a book. You have to jump in at the deep end and either drown or swim. Now, in meditation, you're not going to drown, but you are able to swim. So just try it for yourself, and you will see the noticeable differences. You don't have to be meditating 6 to 9 hours a day like I do, but I'm a monk. This is my job. This is my practice. This is how I am developing the resources to undermine, uproot the root causes of our suffering. These are the kilesas in Pali, or these defilements of greed, hatred, and delusion, which are the cause of suffering. So my goal is to become free from suffering in this lifetime, which is the other reason why I meditate so much. Okay. Where can I find these blessings verses? So if you're referring to the chanting, where at the end, in the morning chanting and now the evening chanting, I offer blessings, then they are in the chanting book I use, which is, I've sent this person the link. If anyone wants the link, I can't read out a link. It's best I just send you the link. Just to send a message like this person's done. And I can send you a link for the PDF version of the chanting book I use. It's not specifically the chanting book I use, because I use the monk's version, and the online one is, because it had some other things in it for just monks, but it's exactly the same. It's the Thai Forest Tradition chanting book. And there are various options. You can just Google Thai Forest Tradition chanting book. But the specific one I use, they are in there, and they're on page 146. I've even sent the page number for where they begin with the English translation. So that's where you can find all of my chanting in that book. It's the Wat Marp Jan chanting book. If you just Google that, it'll come up with its own line, blue thing that you can click, and it will automatically download that PDF. If you have trouble with that, I can send you the link, email, or through this, what this is called, comments. I heard from one of your videos that you were at Bangalore, India. And you want to come and see. Well, that's for, yeah, I'm in Ketohali, near Bangalore. Not far from Bangalore at all. Very easy to get to. Bus and metro. About an hour, a bit longer in the car because it's traffic, being this is near a city. But yes, I am here until the beginning of November. So please do come and see me. Anyone is welcome. I'm always here, and we'll always make time to see people. Well, except on the Uposatha days, full moon and new moon, then I go to the main branch in Bangalore for our recitation. But you probably already know that. Okay. What is Dharma if not jhana? So I'm not sure where that question came from, because I'm not sure I said, well, I know who the question's from, but if it's reference to something I said. So jhana is part of Dharma, but Dharma is not part of jhana. Dharma is everything. It is nature. It is also the teachings of the Buddha. And jhanas, the jhanas we were just referring to, deep states of absorbed samadhi, are part of that, part of these teachings and part of our existence and something we can do. But jhanas themselves aren't the Dharma. They are a part of it. So if I understand your question, that's the answer. Oh, another one from the same person. So, quoting some kind of sayings here about in India they say go to every guru and settle on one. In China they say no, there is no bad students, only bad teachers. But what do they say in Southeast Asia? Okay, well, I'm not sure about any of those sayings or what they say in Southeast Asia, but what the Buddha said, and he is our only teacher. And the Sangha is the lineage of monks who followed the Buddha, who help by continuing those teachings to lay people. So monks from a reputable background of ordination and experience are usually very well qualified in the tradition of your choice to teach you, advise, and help you with the Buddha's teachings. But what the Buddha actually said is all that matters, and that, he said, don't believe anyone, see and experience it for yourself. So you can read the teachings, the word of the Buddha, even if you just listen to the chanting, the suttas in the chanting. It is the word of the Buddha. Put it into practice and experience the results for yourself. And then you are having teachings directly from the Buddha, and there is no belief necessary. But to go around, teacher after teacher after teacher, is a waste of time. But of course, if you have a teacher and the relationship isn't working, then it is important for you both to realize that and go your separate ways and find an alternative. So I hope that answers something I wasn't quite clear on. Are you in Thailand still? Because you're coming in December? Well, no, I'm in India and I'm here in Katali near Bangalore until the beginning of November. And where I'll be in December, I have no idea. I don't even know if I'll be alive then, or what. December's a long way away. Maybe I'll be in Thailand, maybe I'll be here, maybe I'll be somewhere else. I don't know. I don't make plans that far ahead. The only time I have plans are for this Vasa, and even those are made at the very last minute, because I'm kind of not very keen on planning. It's goes against everything I'm ever saying to you. In worldly life, of course, we have to make plans, but it's important. We have families, we have jobs, careers, we have interests, we have social arrangements. But as a monk, we let go of all of this. And I follow the full moon and new moon for my calendar, the sun rising and setting for my clock. And that's sufficient. There comes a time of year, full moon of July, usually, slightly different this year, to full moon of October, when we have to be in one place for that 3 months. So for the last 3 years, about the day before, maybe a couple of days before, if I've been in a different country, which is usually the case also, I've rang my teacher here and said, hey, look, I've got nowhere to go. Put me somewhere. And he's done just that, because that's the compassion he shares with me. I'm very fortunate to have a wonderful teacher like that. And he put me here this year, last year in Tumkur, both wonderful places. So here I am for 3 months. That is the plan. After that, though, I don't know. So sorry, I'd love to meet up with you. Keep a track of this channel. I'll always tell you where I am. And if I'm in the same place as you, please again, come and see me. I'd love to see some of these people that are regular subscribers or commenters or questioners or whatever we call them. Upasakas and upasikas. I don't use that term all the time because not necessarily are you all Buddhists. Some people watching are of other faiths and interested in meditation. I'm not on a soapbox to convert the world to Buddhism. That is certainly not any Buddhist's intention, and it shouldn't be. It is actually not what the Buddha recommended. We are there to live the example as the Buddha taught, set an example as an alternative way of life for other people to see and maybe try for themselves, experience, pick up on, and then, even then, there's no conversion necessary. It's simply a process. If you want to practice the teachings of the Buddha, then doing just that. If you want to call yourself a Buddhist, fair enough. If not, it doesn't matter. That's just a convention, a word, a label. If you want to make it official, you can, to some extent, take Tisarana Panchasila, take refuge in the Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, by reciting, repeating. You don't even have to learn it, just repeating those simple lines that in English or the language of your choice, that I have put now online for you, and reaffirming, reminding yourself, committing yourself to keeping the 5 precepts. That's what makes a Buddhist. And then you practice sila, those 5 precepts, meditation, samadhi, and panya, the development of wholesome mind states and the reduction of unwholesome mind states, the development of wisdom. And I think that is now nearly my time up. I'll answer this last question. Phra Dan, do you believe in... Oh, I picked a difficult one. Phra Dan, do you believe in ghosts? What should one do if their loved ones get possessed? Or see a ghost? Or if their house is haunted? Well, it looked like a little question, and that's lots of questions in one. I'll read my written answer, because I know that'll be brief. I don't believe or disbelieve, but would act in accordance with reality as experienced. So I don't believe in ghosts, as you say, but I don't disbelieve in anything. So I never say I don't believe in God, but I never say I don't believe in God. I never say I believe in God either. I am of no opinion. We have a word in religion, religious terms, agnostic, neither one way or the other. But I'm not that. I just choose not to pay too much consideration to it. I don't spend any time thinking about it. But faced with a situation that was real, I would act in accordance with that, as I say, the reality, that experience, as is taught to me by the Buddha in the Noble Eightfold Path. I would act with right actions of body, speech and mind. And if a ghost came walking up to me saying, "Hello, how do you do?" I would say, "How are you?" and please offer them a seat. "Can I get you anything? Would you like something to eat? Are you well? Are you happy? Where are you going?" Any of these questions, if it was appropriate. If he was coming towards me, it was coming towards me with a mace in hand, swinging it around his head, wishing to do me harm, I would run as fast as I can away, as the situation would provoke. You know, this is how I would consider. But in answer to your question, do you believe in ghosts? No. But in many countries where I've stayed and lived, they do very deeply have these deep-rooted, seated beliefs in ghosts. And it can be a hindrance. It can be difficult to people's practice because, of course, it's going to always mean there's some fear there. So, I mean, if I'm in the graveyard meditating, I don't have fear because I'm of no opinion one way or the other as to whether there are ghosts there with me or not. I can't see them, so I have no reason to think they're there. I can't hear them, smell them, taste, touch, so I don't think about them. If one turns up, I'll think about it. I'll try and think about it without judgment, without comparison to the past, or expectations of the future, what it's going to behave or do. I just see it as that, and it's just that. So there I should leave it for today. Thanking you for your questions. I hope if you do wish to renew your commitment to Buddhism, you can just find that short video. It's only about 13, 14, no more than 15 minutes long. And that is in Pali and English. I will actually record 2 more, one in just Pali and one in just English, and label them such, because you may wish to cut it down and not go through the whole. There's no need to do it in both languages. You're just actually repeating the same lines twice. But I've done it that way for understanding and clarity in the first instance. But I didn't get the opportunity to record the 2 additional videos, which I will do in due course. I really hope this is of some use to you, what I've talked about today. If it is, please use it. And if it's not, then you can just let it go, and please don't let it bother your mind. Don't let it interfere with your day. And certainly don't let it interfere with your practice. May you be happy, may you be well. Sukhi Hotu, Sukhi Hotu.